Dear students, less than 4 weeks are left for your NEET 2021 examination. And my experience of the last couple of years tells me that in the last month, students tend to make certain grave mistakes that can have a very bad impact on their final score. And also, there are certain students who did not study as well during the whole year, but they do certain things and finally end up getting a much better results than their companions. So in this video, I want to talk about those 5 things, do's and don'ts, that may have a significant impact on your final score. First thing first, perhaps the most important thing is that your examination is on 18th of April, and you have to ensure that you are taking your preparation till 17th or 16th, preferably 17th of April. You should continue studying till 17th April evening. Doing this thing in itself gives you a huge impetus, gives you a huge advantage. Why? As the exam comes closer, a large number of students who have done preparation pretty well, they start kind of losing focus. They start feeling that they are not good enough. They start feeling that they would not be able to do it. Irrespective of the fact how well they have studied in the entire year, it is but obvious that students tend to become a bit panicky or anxious in the last weeks. My Instagram and my Facebook is full of messages from students, and everybody is saying the same thing, that sir, I have finished 15 subjects or 16 subjects, 2 are left, or I did first reading pretty well but I was not able to revise it. And everybody is having some kind of problem, and they are freaking out. The problem with this freaking out is you end up wasting a significant amount of time in this anxiety, and more importantly, some of you will give up. So please don't make this fatal mistake. Don't freak out. See students, what happens is your result is not dependent only upon you. It is dependent upon how you fare in comparison to other students. But when we evaluate ourselves, but when we think about our preparation, we are looking at only ourselves. For example, if a student tells me that she has been able to revise only 14 subjects out of the 19 and her 5 subjects are remaining, she was not able to revise those. Now she is just looking at her preparation level. She is blissfully unaware of what is happening to the other student. If the other students have not been able to do even that much, it means that this particular girl will get selected. But this is not how our mind works. We are sitting in our own houses, in our own rooms, in the front of our own screens, and we are freaking out that we were not able to complete the revision. So please don't do that. You do not know what is the level of preparation of others, and that is why you cannot tell whether you are ahead of them or whether you are behind them. Just by looking at the scores of some of your friends, you cannot you cannot come to a conclusion whether you are doing good enough or not. So please don't freak out, and please don't give up on your preparation. You have to ensure that till 17th evening you are continuing to study. Another thing, extremely important thing, that please remember that there is nothing like complete syllabus. Probably for like 5 to 10% of people who are like the toppers, who have always been the toppers, or God gifted, they are able to finish the course. Rest, all of us, the humans, we cannot complete the course. Definitely not the NEET PG course. There are 19 subjects, and if you revise one, you are likely to forget the other. If you revise the second one, you are likely to forget the third one. This game continues on. It is, if you are having a target that I would finish the course and I would be able to remember everything, I would be able to retain everything, that is an unrealistic goal. That cannot happen. And there's a reason why they ask you MCQs, why they don't give you fill in the blanks, or why they don't give you subjective questions, because they also know that it is impossible to finish the course, and they just want to give you the opportunity that if you had read it, you would be able to find out the answer out of the 4 given options. So stop freaking out. From the messages that I have received from you, people keep on saying कि course खत्म नहीं हो पाया, complete नहीं हो पाया. Complete course is a myth. It never happens. It's the question is, how close are you to completion of course, or how better are you in comparison to others as far as the course completion is concerned. So please remember, don't fall for unrealistic goals, and don't end up making yourself anxious because you have set an unrealistic goal for yourself. Don't make this mistake. And this is my favorite line: it is not over till it is over. In my last many years of teaching experience, I've seen so many students who were doing average throughout the period but ended up getting a much better rank than what we were expecting from them. There were many other students who were doing pretty good throughout the year, or pretty great throughout the year, but finally ended up having a rank which, I mean, something they deserved better, but they ended up with something which was not as great. So the game is not over. You still have whatever 24-25 days left, and the equations will still change. And the reason because of which all these equations change is pretty simple. People end up giving up their preparation because of various reasons. People end up evaluating their preparation. In the last weeks, many a time students start thinking that I am not good enough and it would not be able to get a good rank this year, and let me try for the next year. Somebody who was very close to getting a good rank ends up leaving that seat for somebody else who is just starting. Why? Because they misevaluated their performance. They thought that they are not as good, they thought their preparation is not as good as it should be, but the reality was different. So this is another big don't, that please do not evaluate your preparation level too much. In fact, I would say don't think about your preparation levels in the last 20-25 days. The reason being, you tend to underestimate your preparation levels. You will always feel that others know more and you know less. Say you took some exam and you did not fare as well, immediately the thought would be, I don't know much. Probably I am not good enough. And if somebody scores better than you in one particular exam, immediate conclusion that your mind makes is, others know way too much, I am lagging. And again, what will happen if this thought comes in your mind? You would end up wasting 2-3 days. Probably you would end up losing the motivation. Probably you would start studying much less, thinking that koi fayda nahi hai, it is no longer possible. So please do not underestimate yourself, because this is what our tendency is. Now, this also brings up a very important question about the grand test. I keep on getting messages from students that they are not doing as well in the grand test. Now, taking grand test has its own advantages. The biggest advantage is it gives you an examination-like feeling, and it is kind of a practice session. You also get used to pressure of completing the course, completing the exam in that stipulated time. But grand test can also backfire, more so in the last month. Say you took a grand test and you did not score as well in that grand test because of whatever reason. Just by chance, the topics that you are weak in, more questions were asked from that topic, or just by just randomly some subject that you are not so great in, there were more questions from that subject. These random factors can also impact your preparation level or score level. And you may look at that score and assume that this is what the reality of your preparation is, and again you may freak out, you may become anxious. So if you are one of those people, one of those persons who tends to get nervous or anxious and who ends up wasting time, I would suggest that don't take grand test. The disadvantages of taking grand test for anxious people is much more than any possible advantage. Also, even if you want to take grand test, do it as a practice session rather than as a session to test your preparation levels. That is difficult, but if you can do that, please take the grand test in that manner. So this is important thing. Please remember, if it is making you nervous, please stop taking grand test. Find out other ways of taking the mock test. Maybe something in which you would not be compared with others, so that at least you don't have that feeling that I'm lagging behind. So this is the second important thing I wanted to talk about, that there is no need to unnecessarily evaluate your preparation levels. Alright, this is my favorite. I like to talk about this thing, can't do it anymore syndrome. Right? In the fag end of the preparation, there are many students who start saying, ki, now I am no longer able to study. Now my mind has stopped absorbing information. Now I just can't do it anymore. As you are aware that fatigue happens in the CNS first, and it can be overcome by psychological push. So this can't do it anymore saps energy out of you, makes you feel fatigued, takes the motivation out of you, and ends up wasting a lot of time. If you end up wasting 3 weeks or 3.5 weeks just before examination, you are giving somebody else your seat. You are gifting somebody else your seat. Don't do that. Don't let it happen to you. Don't even entertain thoughts like that कि अब मुझसे नहीं हो सकता. And what I have seen is this thing tends to spread in the small groups. There are 5 students who are studying together or who are coordinating the preparation. One of them starts saying this, and the other 4 also start saying the same thing. They also start feeling ki now I am saturated, I can't do it anymore. In case one of your friends is saying stuff like that, tell him that there is no such thing, please don't do it. And if he doesn't agree, if he doesn't listen to you, stop communicating with him, at least on this particular thing. Because this feeling spreads very fast, and there is a lot of damage to the entire group. So please don't do that. This is the reason why a large number of students drop out. They start feeling that I can't do it anymore, and then they take a test, they don't do so well, and then they say that okay, I cannot take it anymore, I'll prepare the next year. This happens so many times to so many students that I cannot warn you enough regarding this thing. Please don't let that happen to you. If you have been studying good, please take a preparation to the last day. So this is what I have been telling, that entrance examination is not only about your studies, it is about your temperament also. Many students, despite studying well, just drop out of the race because they can't take the pressure anymore, and that is why the slots keep on opening up. When people ask me, can it still be done? I say yes, it can still be done, because no matter how much I warn you, or your friends warn you, or your family members warn you, or your faculties warn you, some students would definitely drop out of the race at the fag end, and that keeps up that leads to opening of slots all the time, and that is why the race is never over till it is over. So talking about it, last moment search, as I said, some students will definitely drop out of the race. That would open up the slots. And another important thing is that even if somebody has been studying from the day one, although they have a lot of advantages, much more advantages than disadvantages, but there is this little thing where momentum may take a halt or may get broken to some extent in the end. And that is why people who started late, sometimes they are able to go past the students who were studying from the beginning. So if you are one of those who has been studying from the very beginning, I want to warn you that don't let your guards down, don't slow down. But if you are a student who started up late, I would tell you that definitely some of the students are going to slow down, and that is why you still have a chance. If you study like crazy, if you cram like crazy, if you mug like crazy, if you spend 12 hours, 14 hours in front of the books or your videos, things can still be done. Reason being, our examinations are still not conceptual. In fact, I think a medical entrance test can never be 100% conceptual. A medical education would always have some facts-based question, and somebody who's cramming those facts, somebody who's cramming those questions in the latter half of preparation, he would be able to reproduce it better. So last moment cramming, last moment mugging can always change the equation as far as your results are concerned. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, depending upon how are you able to use it. The last moment search will definitely change the results. It totally depends upon which side of on which side you end up. You end up on the side of losing, or you end up on the side of winning certain seats. All right. Now, again, my favorite, probably because I'm a psychiatrist, you have to manage your emotions. You should not get overwhelmed. You should not get anxious. You have to take some practical steps to stop yourself from freaking out. Do not talk to people too much. Definitely do not talk about your preparation levels. Do not let others make a comment on your preparation levels. Do not unnecessarily judge your preparation levels. Do not unnecessarily take too many tests and kind of predispose yourself to heartbreaks and following anxiety. All these things you have to do. In fact, if I tell this thing, I say this thing multiple times. If you can ensure that in the last 3-4 days you are cool, if you are cool as cucumber, if you are if you can go into the entrance examination hall with a cool head, you gain probably 5% or 10% of marks. You do not make those silly mistakes. If you're too anxious, if you're too scared, you would make more silly mistakes. A couple of days before examination, all the social media would be full of messages like go do it, show what you are made up of, show everybody what you can achieve. But I say the exact opposite thing. Don't show anything to anybody. Get as calm as possible. Stay away from social media as much as possible, at least in the last few days. You have to cool yourself down, not pump yourself up. In the examination hall, anyhow, the arousal would be too much. There would be, the sympathetic system would be in the overdrive. We don't want to take it to the next level. We have to calm it down. We don't want to make silly mistakes. The more the arousal symptoms are, the more silly mistakes you would make. And I don't need to tell you what kind of a difference 10% of marks can make to your rank. So please remember this. And finally, what I want to tell you is, when we are left with 20 days, 25 days, 30 days, things become tough. And when you try to plan everything, it would not work. If you think about it logically or rationally, it would not work. If you think that I'm starting so late, can I make a difference in 25 days? And you try to use logic, the answer is no, not much can be done. But the fact is this, the fact is that passion often trumps logic. When you say that I do not care about anything, whatever days are left, I will do my best, I will study like crazy, I will study like never before, I would use every single moment available to me, and let's see whatever happens. Magic happens, right? And in the form of magic, great ranks come. And this is something that I have experienced myself. As I have told in some of the previous videos, I got 40 days for my preparation, and logic was that it would not be, it is not possible. If I thought it carefully, the answer was there is no way that anybody can clear exam in 40 days. But for whatever reason, I decided that I'll give it a go. I studied like crazy. I used every single day, and I got selected. And I'm just like you. I'm not different from you in any way. My IQ is similar to yours. My hardworking capability is similar to yours. My knowledge from MBBS is quite similar to what yours would be. But magic happens, because there are many factors involved in the entrance examination. The only factor, since when you started your preparation, is not the only factor. So don't waste time, guys and girls. Don't entertain that thought that it can no longer be done. Don't entertain the thought that I would do it next year. All that is rubbish. Don't fall into those steps. Use whatever days are left to the best of your capabilities. Get selected, and then drop a message to me. We will celebrate together. All the best. God bless you.